Hi there and welcome to my What is NLP? So welcome in. So NLP basically stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming. And now you might be thinking, if you've clicked on here, what is Neuro Linguistic Programming? Basically, Neuro Linguistic Program is to do with the mind, meaning neurons. So basically our mind is made up of these little neurons that sends little messages to our brain and other parts of our body. Linguistic basically means how it communicates, how it kind of comes across the messages, how the messages are sent. And programming is the function of it. So basically how it happens, why it happens. And so a lot of people use kind of NLP to basically help a form of rewiring of the mind in certain situations. So for example, you might have fears. You might want to know, why does I react in a certain way? Do I think in a certain way? And this is to do with basically how our mind works. And our mind is basically consists of our conscious and our subconscious. So generally our subconscious is like our historical data bank, so to speak. So basically it is full of all your experiences, all your everything kind of that has happened in life to you, and that's kind of happening at the back of your mind. So say for example you are in a new situation and basically you're wondering kind of what to do in this new situation. Now you cannot say, well, I know what to do, because it's new. So basically what the brain does, it says, hold on a minute, this experience reminds me of a time when, and it kind of will take you back to a certain place. And it happens a lot with our subconscious. So it might be when we're speaking to someone, they might say something and then suddenly it might trigger a reaction in our mind or an experience. And that's because our subconscious takes in all this stuff and is there to protect us. It basically says, look, I have this experience of this, so I know how to deal with this. So you know, when you're in new situations, your brain's like, I don't know quite what to do with this. It's a new situation. And this is why we often have these fears, because we don't have that programming to say, I know what to do. Now, just to give a silly example of this. So a while ago, I asked my daughter, because I've got two daughters, an ice cream. So would you like an ice cream? They said, yeah, I'd like an ice cream. And then I said, well, okay, there's different flavors here. And I tried to show them it. And of course, to them, they've got no comprehension of what this certain ice cream tastes like, because they've never had it. So does a picture represent a full description of an ice cream? No, because do you know that when you bite it, little chocolate bits might fall off, or the ice cream might melt in your mouth, or that it tastes in a certain way? No, unless you've had it. And as I was told by the person I was with at the time, look, you've got 40 years of ice cream tasting, and your 3-year-old hasn't, your 7-year-old hasn't. They've got limited experience, they've got limited knowledge of what ice creams are. So to say you can have this and this means nothing, you're not communicating in a way that they understand, because they've got no concept of it. Now, a lot of times in life can be like that. Sometimes people communicate to us in a way that we just have no idea what they're saying, right? And so if we've got no idea of what they're saying, then actually we've got no way of really developing a relationship or going any further with them. So what neuro-linguistic programming does is it basically helps us with a kind of rewiring of our brain, so to speak. So with things like fears, it kind of takes a look at, well, what are the fears about? What are the triggers behind them, for example? So it may be, for example, at the age of 2, you might have been scared by a spider, and because of that one incident, that's then affected you for the rest of your life. And you may not even know that was because of then. But actually, certain things can add up, like little stacking shelves, and then eventually, at some stage, your mind just doesn't cope with it, and it's like, oh dear, what shall I do with this? So that's what happens. And then, of course, as we grow up as well, we get used to certain ways of behaviour. So when we grow up, we don't start off with lots of negative stuff in our life. Of course we don't, because we don't have that experience. When a child is born, they're not used to people bullying them, they're not used to people saying that they can and can't do this necessarily. They just do, right? And saying don't do this to a small baby, you got no concept of that. Why shouldn't they do that? Because they don't have that cognitive thinking. They don't have that experience. It's just words. And it's the same thing as a parent. We often say to our kids, oh, in 10 minutes you can do this, or 5 minutes time you've got to do this. Now they've got no real concept of time because they're kids, right? Yet we still use the same language, don't we? And so with NLP, basically we can take lots of negative things that have happened or said in our life and basically just turn them around so they become more positive, or maybe we can just take out those memories, those feelings, if that's what we want. So for example, if you've had a bad experience, well, obviously we can't take away the experience per se, but what we can do is we can often look at the emotions behind that and deal with those, because it's often those emotions that are stopping us from moving forward in life. Now, NLP has been around since the 1970s, and it was developed later on in the 1980s. So it's been around for quite a while, and it's developed over time. So when I use NLP, basically you may come to me with an issue, and then what I will do is I will help you just by taking a different look at it. And so the phrase I often use is out the box thinking. So basically you can present an issue to me, and what I'll do with you is we will look at different ways of addressing it, different ways of looking at it, and different ways of coming to it. So basically it's different perception. And what I mean by perception is sometimes, if you've been to, say, a football match, or if there's, say, an accident, right? Perception is basically about a point of view. So you can all be at the same event, but have different views. Does that make sense? And so sometimes in life, things have happened to us, and then we're constantly stuck with that one vision, that one frame of mind. And that can be quite damaging sometimes, or quite harmful sometimes. And so basically we can use NLP just to take a different look at the situation. Now that might make it better, but it certainly won't make it any worse, because you've already got those ideas in your head. And so basically that is what NLP can be used for. Now, of course, you can go and do some more research on NLP if that's what you want. But if not, I hope this has helped in some way, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye.